Seattle and their intellectual vanguard, University of Washington, were dangerously warped. Most of the people who are working class young want a fair wage paid to them for being, for example, baristas. I wash dishes, 2 full-time jobs because I'm deaf, to keep up with waiters and waitresses who got tips. I didn't get any tips. I had to make enough money to keep up a standard of living among these rivals who did not share their tips with me. I believe that a person who works very hard is entitled to get paid. The criminally insane landed in their flying saucer from Britain and grossly inflated the issue by cannibalizing questions of Sotheby's paintings. I had nothing to do with that. I should be paid what my works are worth. But that is beside the point when it comes to my hard work trying to warn and protect people. Why did they not want to warn and protect people? They don't admit that it was because they are advocates for those who were attacking us. But that is true. So since they're not going to admit that, what did they say instead? They say someone is trying to profiteer. Someone is trying to be paid for warning people of information that could save their lives because they have to make ends meet too. And they refuse to pay me for my hard work and injuries. Their logic would read, the mutilated children in Gaza are not the real victims. And they can fill in the blank. The mutilated children who died are the real victims. In other words, they're psychotic. And they allowed the whole thing to spread and get worse and worse and worse and worse because it allowed them to upload a megalomaniacal socialist idea that somehow they used to con themselves into brutalizing completely innocent people and then sell it as equity. They're threatening their own families, children, and communities with a nuclear device in the script that they have adopted in their claims, written if you actually understand. What is wrong with them? What is wrong with someone who doesn't understand that if you told the truth in 1984, many lives would have been saved because people would have been careful and understood what was going on? But no, they put on their spinner beanies and their antennas and their tinfoily hats and said, we have to feel the great mystical vibes of Penis Gabriel's ideas about John Lennon. And some of them seem to have believed themselves. They went out, these are people who wouldn't work for 1 minute without getting paid, who worked a mutilated victim of torture, literally to death, trying to overcome the obstacles they put up to warning people about what was happening. And then Ripper murdered a completely innocent bystander over what they said was a penny equity line. They come and start putting poison in food because they say you're not victim enough. And they call themselves mental health authorities in the state of Washington. And they're backed up by sandbaggers in British media. How can anybody be that huge of a loser? It's because they get paid under the counter by the people who they're protecting, who are subsidizing their obstruction of people's right to know and be defended. They're stealing books from museums. I was run out of town, 2 years homeless, poisoned half to death, ending up with Parkinson's, trying to warn the Carnegie Museum, the post office, that this dude was ripping them off, and they ran me out of town. Because one of them said, we stole his stamp collection and he'll be wanting to get it back. And that's no, because that crosses the eugenic union line. And the vets line up to endorse this contraption about penny Ripperhat. And it all makes sense to their stupid minds. The baristas insist on a fair wage, and they refuse to pay somebody for their hard work who is crippled, disabled, I should say, severely disabled. It was only working to try to warn them, to try to help them, to try to convince them that they needed to understand what had happened. And they make it an issue of a murder sport over a penny. That's how psychotic Seattle, Washington is. It would be as if the waiters, who I was working 2 full-time dishwashing jobs to keep up with, and waitresses, said, nah, we're not going to pay you for washing 2 full-time dishwashing jobs. Now, nobody ever did that. But that's what it would be like. It's simple common decency to pay somebody for their work and injuries. It's common decency. That's all. Don't make it into a race video PlayStation. Oh my goodness, deafness is worth 2 points and the black man is worth 6 points. So you still owe us 4 points. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with recognizing that a contraption was put into place from this UFO that beamed down. Play a stupid, foolish game with public safety, against public safety, in the names of some Warpo World Sotheby's experiment where they're twisting your arm. Give us your painting, square ball. Give us your painting, square ball.